Hello and welcome back. This is video number 1, which is the introduction. So what I want to do right now is to give you a quick overview of what's inside this video course. That way you're going to get a bird's eye view of the whole course as a whole. This is video number 1, which is the introduction. Video number 2, we'll talk about themes, because the design and the look is really important, especially to the customer, especially how you lay things out and all of that. So we're going to show you where to go to get access to WooCommerce themes that are already pre-made for you. That way you don't have to create it from scratch or hire anyone to create it from scratch, and you can simply purchase it, download it, upload it, and you're good to go. Video number 3, we'll talk about the general settings within WooCommerce, and then exactly how to tweak them, how to customize them, and all of that. Video number 4, we'll talk about the product settings overview, which are the products, how to create a product, how to edit a product, how to customize a product. Once you've created your products, you want to make sure that you organize them, because you never know if you will add more in the future, and especially if you start creating 10, 20, 30 or more, it can become very disorganized. So you want to make sure that you create an organized system. So we'll teach you how to organize things and how to utilize the options built into WooCommerce to organize your products, so that it makes it easier not only for you to find, for also your customer to find as well. Video number 6, we'll talk about the product attributes. Product attributes are basically like if you were to buy a skateboard and you want it in green, blue, purple, different colors, maybe different shapes, different wheels. That is what we call product attributes. And of course, in video number 7, we'll talk about expansion. What we mean by that is, how do you go beyond the core foundation? Let's say, for example, that you want to run subscriptions, or you want to expand on that. You want to do marketing. You want to install different aspects beyond just the basics. So how do you go about doing that? Video number 8, we'll talk about how to automate tedious WooCommerce tasks. Let's say, for example, that after somebody purchases an item, you want to add them to a Google spreadsheet or add them to your list, or you want to do something very specific that takes a lot of time, something that you can't really be there 24/7 to actually do. So in other words, once you have set up these automations, then it's going to make your life a lot easier. The more you automate, the more you can actually focus on marketing your store, getting people to your store, and focus on other things. Okay, so what I want to talk about right now is what you need before you can get started. So before we even dive into the video course, you are going to need these things. So obviously you're going to need a website with WordPress already installed. Now, in terms of where, you need to figure out if you want your store located on a subdomain, such as store.yourdomain.com, or maybe you want it to be located within a subfolder, such as yourdomain.com/store, or within the main site. So those are things that you need to figure out before you watch this video course. Now, obviously, you can watch the video course and then go back and implement that as well. But the main thought process is, where do you want to install? So most people just install WooCommerce wherever their WordPress site is located. So if that's the case, you don't really need to worry about that. I just wanted to mention that as an option, because that way you can segment your main site and your store if you choose to do so. But otherwise, if you don't really care, you can install it wherever your WordPress is installed. Now, there's a lot of courses, there's a lot of videos out there on the basics of WordPress. You can find a lot on YouTube or other platforms as well. And sometimes you can find them for free on the basics of installing WordPress. And sometimes you can get your web hosting company to do that for you as well. Once you have figured that out, the next step is why. So why are you creating your store? You need to understand the purpose and the goal behind your site. Is it to make a certain amount of money? Is it to, obviously everyone wants to make money, but is it to impact a certain amount of people? Or is it to sell, let's say you have a warehouse and you have 100 skateboards or 100 of something, and you want to get rid of that. So what is the purpose? You want to write that down because you want to figure out in months' time after you set up your WooCommerce site if you've actually reached those goals. So this is kind of a little bit of goal setting, but you really need to figure that out before you actually start your site. Because as you start your store, you can begin to implement things that will actually help build upon that and help you reach that goal, if that makes sense. And of course, the what. What covers an idea or mind map of how you want your site to look like and of course to work together. So basically you want to connect the dots, figure out what your site needs to do. There are many different mind map softwares out there. You can go to Google, type in free mind map software or mind map software or flowchart software, whatever you want to do. We like lucidchart.com. That's another good option. It does cost a little bit of money, but it's a really good tool to organize your thoughts. So what I'm getting at here is there's a lot of thoughts in your head that you just need to get down on paper. All right. So last but not least, the how is this video course. So now that you have a good idea of what you need before you can actually implement WooCommerce, let's jump in and talk about WooCommerce themes. Hello and welcome back. This is video number 2, and we're going to talk about where you can go to get WooCommerce themes. So a lot of you might be thinking, okay, where do I get a theme that looks like maybe something of my industry or my target market so that I don't have to design it from scratch? See, back in the day, you would have to design it from scratch, but nowadays there are hundreds, if not thousands, of WooCommerce themes that you can pick and choose from. So going back to why you want to create your store and what niche you want to create your store for, those are crucial things to have in mind as you begin to look for WooCommerce themes. So what I'm going to do now is just show you different sites that you can go to get WooCommerce themes. The first one is called TemplateMonster.com. That's TemplateMonster.com. Template Monster has been around since themes were even created, when themes were beginning to be created initially, many decades ago. So they have tons and tons of different themes that you can pick and choose from. Now, there are tons of themes here, and bear in mind that there are many themes here that are not compatible to WordPress. So you need to look for a WooCommerce theme, or make sure that the theme is compatible to that platform, because there are many themes that are compatible to a variety of different platforms. So you need to keep that in mind as you look at different themes. So if you go to the site and up at the top, you click on this icon here, you'll see under website templates, WordPress themes, WooCommerce themes, and Elementor Marketplace. So the difference here between WordPress themes and WooCommerce themes is WordPress simply encompasses everything WordPress. WooCommerce, on the other hand, will look like an actual store. That's why you need to figure out, do you want it on a subdomain or do you want it on a subfolder? Some people realize this when they begin to install the theme, that, okay, you have a blog, you have different content on the main site, whereas the store is totally different. So that's why I mentioned that in video number 1. So when you go to WooCommerce themes, they're obviously going to look like an e-commerce store. So as you can see here, Template Monster has 791 WooCommerce themes as of now. Of course, that number will grow beyond later down the road. So as you can see, here's a list of the WooCommerce themes. You can see the different designs and all that. Now, I want to say, if you want to focus on a target market and you want that theme to be designed around that target market, you can search for that target market. So let's say, for example, books. So we don't know necessarily if there's a theme for books, but let's just do a search. So we look at this and we think, okay, we have a e-commerce store that is focused on books. Now this is great because it gives you an idea of what is possible. And if you just want to start out of the gate and you don't really want to think and you just want to start uploading your products and that's it, this is the best technique to apply. All right. So books, different categories, different niches, just type that in and do a search and find the theme that you like and go for it. Now, I want to say you may find free WooCommerce themes out there, but I want to caution you because a lot of those themes, and I won't say all of those themes, but some of those themes have viruses or they're merely released for free so that they can link back to the creator's site. And there's nothing wrong with that in terms of backlinks, but as a business owner, if you're trying to run a business, you want to run a good business. You want to make sure that the WooCommerce theme is updated constantly. So at the end of the day, you want to make sure that you choose a theme that costs a little bit of money. The reason why we caution you against free themes, not necessarily all the time viruses, but even if they are clean, because they are free, long-term wise and long-term view, they may shut down. All right. So another thing you want to think about when you find a theme is the theme developed by a reputable vendor? Now, you won't really know that unless you do a little bit of research. So if you go here, for example, and let's say we want to choose maybe the one up here. So we click on details. And Template Monster, what they'll do is, as you scroll down, it says it's $94, and you can get it a lot cheaper at different sites, which I'll show you in just a minute. But as you can see here, if you scroll down, this is what it looks like. We can see intro, benefits, reviews. A lot of times I like to go to reviews to see if other people have purchased it, because just because the theme looks nice doesn't always mean that it's going to work properly. The reviews and the comments are great because it'll tell you if there are problems with that theme. So we notice here that there are no reviews and no comments for this theme. If we do a search on a different theme and we see a lot of reviews, we see a lot of comments that say something like, oh, this is a really good, easy install, that is something that you might want to go forward with. But if you look at the reviews and comments and they say, this theme, I installed it, I had a lot of problems, I spent hours, I couldn't figure out, and you don't see support actually responding, then that's surefire, reason to stay away from that particular theme. So you really need to do your diligence beyond just picking and choosing a theme. Now, one site, and it's several sites that you can choose, first of all, is WooCommerce. So WooCommerce.com, that's the main site, which is by WordPress. If you go to the theme store and all themes, most of the time, and pretty much the majority, 99.9% or even 100%, these themes are guaranteed to work because it's developed by a reputable company. It's developed by WooCommerce themselves. So if you come here, you simply select Theme Store, you can see there's different industries. So you can pick and choose the industry that matches you, and that's what I recommend that you do. So if you scroll down here, and let's say, for example, that we do something like software. So we scroll down further and take a look at what they have. Let's see, they have this one here. Let's choose something else. Let's do arts and crafts. So we scroll down. There's only one theme, but if we click on that, we can get a better idea of what the theme is, how it's laid out, take a look at the demo, so you can get an idea of what is possible. Now, I want to say, even though the theme might be for a specific niche, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be targeted just for that niche. You can take something that's dealing with arts and crafts and of course change it to something like electronics or books and so forth. You don't have to be tied to that, but I'm just showing you this method just because it's easier. Now, another site that you can go to is called themeforest.net. That's themeforest.net. And themeforest.net is owned by a company called Envato. And Envato has been around for a long, long time, to the point that you can literally find hundreds and hundreds of themes. And a lot of these actually have comments and actually have reviews. The reason why I wanted to show you the template monster was simply because I wanted to show you the different avenues and the different options that you have. So if you scroll down here, we can see different themes that are compatible with WooCommerce. And you can see that there's a lot of themes here that look really nice. Now, one method that I like to take here is after I do a search on, say, e-commerce themes or WooCommerce themes. So you can go to WordPress and go to e-commerce, and most likely these fit WooCommerce. But you got to double check as well, because as you can see here, there's 1,322 WordPress WooCommerce themes, but there's also themes that are compatible to Cart66 or JiggerShop. So these may not necessarily be compatible to WooCommerce. Now, if you go here and let's see, we look at the top, they always rank it by sales. So you can see this theme has been sold 100,000 times, or 36,000 times, or 12,000 times. This gives us a good reason that, okay, if people are buying this many people bought it, then the theme has less problems, then the theme is being updated. So let's say that we want to choose this one here. So comparatively to Template Monster, as you can see, $100 versus $30 to $50, Theme Forest is definitely cheaper. So if you scroll down here, you can see that this one theme can actually fit many different niches. It doesn't have to be necessarily one niche. But sometimes if you find a theme that focuses on one niche, it will actually create solutions that will fit that one niche. All right, so that's the advantage of finding a theme that fits one niche. Now, this is sort of like a one size fits all. All right, so we got 4.0 Woodmart. This one has a lot of physical products, but as you can see, it fits many niches. Now, the one thing that you want to make sure of when you look for a WooCommerce theme is it easy to set up? So this one, they market a visual drag and drop header layout builder. So that's a good sign if you want to just simply drag and drop things and set things up really easily and quickly. So as we scroll down, we're seeing a lot of different features, a lot of different benefits and different features, different plugins that are included. So I want to say, when you find a theme that you really like and you want to do some due diligence, what you want to do is you want to scroll all the way down to the bottom, and it will show you what we call a change log. A change log basically tells you how many times or how much the theme has been updated. So as of today, this is January 14th, 2020. So this was uploaded a while ago, actually a few weeks ago. But we can see that every update has a ton of different features. So that's a good sign. So if we scroll back to the top here, we can see what it is compatible with. So it's compatible with WooCommerce 3.8, 3.7, 3.6. And it's also compatible with WordPress 5.3, 5.2, 5.1, and 5.0. So what that tells us is this is updated frequently, and that's a good sign. So beyond the sales, if we take a look at the comments, what we're looking here is, are the comments and are the questions being resolved and responded to? So it says here, is there a way to rearrange the order of the product attributes? And the author has responded during the same day. So that's a good sign. Sometimes you might find a theme that is being sold but the author's not responding. So that's a problem, because if you run into a problem and the author's not communicating with you, then you're going to run into that roadblock and you'll have lose some money. So that's why I say find a theme that you like and do some due diligence. Now, another site that we recommend is called creativemarket.com. That's creativemarket.com. So if you go here and you type in WooCommerce, as I've done earlier, you will see it says 1,300 design assets. So it's actually a little bit more than Envato. Creative Market is fantastic. Not only does it have themes, it has a lot of other things as well. Now, as you scroll down, you can see a lot of different themes, a lot of pink, a lot of purple. I will say Creative Market is a lot more geared towards women and businesses that cater to women. Fashion, beauty, arts and crafts, and things like that. Not to necessarily say that those are geared 100% towards women. Those could be men as well. But Creative Market is, in my opinion, I would rank this number 1. I would say Envato number 2, and then the rest follows. Because Creative Market, I feel like their designs are really well laid out. So this is definitely another site that you can look at. Same methods. Take a look at the theme. If you like it, take a look at the vendor, look at the comments, look at the ratings. Make sure it adds all up before you buy a theme. Because I can't tell you the countless of times where we spent hundreds and like thousands of dollars on themes only to realize that the theme just didn't work out of the box. So that's why I say it's a matter of looking for the theme and doing your due diligence. All right, so with that said, let's move on to the next video. Hello and welcome back. This is video number 3, and we're going to talk about the general settings of WooCommerce. Now, before we talk about that, I want to show you the basics of installing WooCommerce and, of course, getting your WooCommerce theme. We talked about WooCommerce themes in the previous video, but I assume that at this point you have it on hand. Okay, so first things first, you want to log into your WordPress administrator dashboard, as you can see here. So next up, you want to go to Plugins, Add New, click Upload Plugin, and of course you're going to see this box here. So what you're going to do is down here, you're going to type in the keyword WooCommerce. Now, if you've already downloaded WooCommerce, the plugin, you can also choose File, Install Now, and go through this route here. But the simplest route is simply to type in the keyword, as you can see here, what I've done here, WooCommerce, and of course you'll see this here. Next up, click Install Now. Once that's uploaded, all you need to do next is simply click on Activate. So we'll wait just a second here. And once it's activated, it is good to go. Now, before we can complete it, as you can see here, it's activated. We need to go through the WooCommerce setup process, which basically just entails the basics of your site. So it says the following wizard will help you configure your store that you can get quickly up and running. So, you fill in your location, your country, your address, your city, your state, your zip code, what currency do you want the payments to be in, what types of products do you plan to sell, and more. So I'm just going to go ahead and fill this out. And next is the payment processors. So basically, how are you going to take payments? By default, we have Stripe and we have PayPal. Stripe is free, and it's a way that you can take credit card payments. So as you can see, accept debit, credit cards, and so forth. Now, Stripe, I definitely would recommend, because if you don't have this, you would have to have PayPal. And if you have PayPal, you automatically assume that people have a PayPal account. Now, that is not always the case. That might be the case in tier 1 countries, but beyond that, some countries are not allowed to have PayPal. So with that in mind, what you want to do next is simply to check this box here and then type in an email address. So if you haven't had a Stripe account created before, all you have to do is go ahead and enter that email address here, and the system will actually go and create an account for you via Stripe. But of course, if you don't necessarily know now, you can simply uncheck this box, click on continue, and of course you can go back later down the road. So click on continue. Next, we have shipping. So shipping is mainly required if you have physical products. If you have digital products, you can simply skip this process. But if you have physical products, you're definitely going to need to fill this out. So as you can see here, it says we've created 2 shipping zones for the United States and the rest of the world. So down here, we can set the flat rate if we want to do that, and the flat rate for other zones. So you can do that. You can click continue. And of course, if you're not sure right now, you can simply enter 0 and do it later down the road. And of course, next after that, we have the recommended, activate, and ready. Okay, so the recommended for all WooCommerce stores simply are different features and options that you can have. They're not necessarily required for you to have. So for example, it says storefront theme. If you want to integrate the initial theme, which is called storefront, you can do that. If you have a different theme, however, you're going to want to uncheck that. Now it says automated taxes. It's got WooCommerce admin, so you can manage your store's reports. MailChimp. Now you're not going to want to have this if you have your own email autoresponder service. So for example, if you use ActiveCampaign or GetResponse or Aweber, you're going to want to uncheck that. And of course it says Facebook, enjoy all Facebook products combined into one extension. Pixel tracking, catalog sync, messenger chat, and all the above. So you can check these if you want to, but in my opinion, I would simply uncheck most of them and move forward. Okay, so we're gonna click on continue because I automatically assume that you're gonna have a different WordPress theme. So after we click continue, the next step is to activate, and we're almost done. So it says connect your store to Jetpack. In my opinion, however, don't install Jetpack because it has a lot of things that you don't necessarily need. So we're going to click skip this step. Okay, so it says the next step is to create some products, which we'll talk about in just a minute. I'll show you that later. And everything is ready. So let's go ahead and click on View Dashboard. And let's just go back to the WordPress Administrator dashboard. So to access the WooCommerce plugin, all we need to do is go under here and here. Products are located under a different sidebar option called Products. They're not located under the WooCommerce section. All right. So in this video, we're going to talk more about this section right here. Now, in terms of installation of the theme, I want to show you that right now before we move forward. The WordPress theme is going to be installed under Appearance. So if you have to go to Appearance and then Themes, and then you'll need to find the theme, either by adding new, click Upload Theme, choose File, find the file, click Install Now, and go from there. So that's what you would most likely do if you have a WooCommerce theme that is separate and you've purchased that via maybe Theme Forest, via Creative Market, and more. Okay, so in this case, we've already installed the theme. In fact, it's a free theme called Deli right here. So what I'm going to do is click Activate. And here we go. So the theme has been installed and we're good to go. Now, different WordPress themes for WooCommerce will be different. So it really depends. So I can't really show you the theme that we're using because it's going to look totally different than ours. But the basics are, once you've installed the WooCommerce theme, you can simply go to Customize and of course customize the header, the footer, the images, and more. And a lot of times the WordPress WooCommerce theme will come with documentation to walk you through step by step as to how you can customize that particular theme. Now, that out of the way, let's go back to WooCommerce here. So we'll go over here. And here we go. So if you look at WooCommerce initially, you're going to see the performance reports, the charts, and more. So we can see the date range. So as you begin to make more sales, you'll begin to see more data right here. So that's why it's empty right now, because we haven't actually launched an actual shop. But this gives us a good idea of what is selling, what is not selling, and what our customers really want, so that you can focus on that. So if you go under orders here, we don't see any orders right now. But when we receive orders, you'll need to just go to WooCommerce, orders, and you'll see them all here. In terms of coupon codes, if you've created a product and you want to create a coupon code, then you can come here, you can create your first coupon, like so. You can enter a custom coupon code if you want to, or you can simply click on generate coupon code and it'll generate a random coupon code for you. So you could do that, or you could type in something like Black Friday, maybe 50, saying 50% off, something like that. So it's really up to you. You can either do customized or you can do random. Now, if you scroll down, as you can see here, it says general discount type. It's a fixed cart discount, meaning it's a one-time percent discount, maybe 50%, which can vary depending on how much somebody actually buys, and then fixed product discount. So the difference between cart discount and product discount is only focused on a very specific product, whereas a fixed cart discount is focused on everything that is in the cart. Obviously, if you choose that, then what we need to do here is, let's say we're going to do a coupon count of $50, and you can either specify that you want the coupon to expire, or you can leave it blank if you don't want it to expire. So usage restriction basically restricts how many times the coupon can be used. Now, because it's a product-based coupon code, we want to make sure that we select the products. But obviously in this case, we don't have any products created, but you're simply going to select the product. So once you add the products, you'll be able to see the products that are located here. You can also exclude products that you don't want to be included within the coupon. You can enter maybe a whole category has a coupon code, and you exclude categories if you want to. So that's basically all that is. As you can see, fairly simple to use, and usage limits, how many times the coupon can be used. Can it be used unlimited times, or can it only be used maybe 100 times until it expires? So that's how to utilize coupons. Next up, we have reports. So we're going to go ahead and click on leave. So this is very similar to the orders, or even this here is going to show you the orders, the customers, and the stock. Sales by date, sales by product, sales by category, coupons by date, and customer downloads. So this gives you a better breakdown of what is actually happening within your store. Next up, we have settings. So within settings, this is basically what we dealt with initially. So remember, we got general, we have shipping, we have payments, we have accounts, we have more. So the main differences with the wizard and what we see here are the products, and this is the actual shop page. So it's shop. And then of course we have emails. And what this means are, these are emails that are sent to the customer, such as reset password, new account, order on hold, processing order. So you can change these if you want to, but you don't have to. But it's nice to have to just start off right off the bat. And that's it. Now let's move on to the next video and talk about how to go about creating brand new products or adding products to the system. Hello and welcome back. This is video number 4, and we're going to talk about how to edit the product settings and of course how to create a product. It's super easy. All you have to do is go under products, which is normally under WooCommerce. So it's this section here. And right here, you'll see all products. So if you created products, you'll see all of them here. At the moment, we have no products, so that we see create product. So add new is similar to create a product, categories, tags, and attributes. Now, in the future videos, I'll talk about categories and tags, and of course, product attributes as well. But for now, let's just talk about and focus purely on these two right here. So to create a product, there are two different ways. You can either import them by utilizing this. Let's say, for example, that you have 100 different products, and creating individual products over and over and over again is just going to take a lot of time. So to do that, you can either click Create Product or Start Import. I'm going to go ahead and click Create Product, but I also opened a different tab with the Import Products here. Now, as you can see here, this says this tool allows you to import or merge product data to your store via a CSV file or a spreadsheet file. So as you can see here, all you have to do is populate it, import it, and you're good to go. Now, I'm not going to focus a lot on this. This is more advanced. What we're going to do is go back over here and create a new product. So this could be, let's say, book 1. And then what you want to do is you want to add your description here. And ideally, put them in bullets, bulleted points or number bullets, whatever. So something like that. And of course, down here, you can actually put the price. So it says product data, simple product. So if you're just adding one product, it's going to be a simple product. If you have a group of products, it's going to be this one here. Now, you also want to specify, is it virtual or is it downloadable? So as you can see with this tooltip, it says virtual products are intangible and are not shipped. Downloadable products give access to a file upon purchase. So if you're trying to sell, let's say, for example, an ebook or a video, it's going to be downloadable. All right. If it's not, it will be virtual. So if it's physical, of course, you want to leave these unchecked. Now, if you do downloadable, it gives you the option to add a file, like in a PDF or a video course or something. But if you want to enter the URL, you would need to have some sort of extension that allows you to integrate digital products. But for now, to keep it simple, you can simply upload the file here. And of course, it says download limit and download expiry. Okay, so after that, you can go to inventory, and it has the SKU. If you have something like a physical product, you can put in stock status, in stock, out of stock, or on back order, sold individually. And of course, shipping. Shipping is only needed if you have a physical product. If you have a digital product, it's definitely not needed. Linked products like upsells or cross sells, meaning things that are related, but you can get people to buy more, basically. So cross-sell, on the other hand, would be something that is related. So let's say, for example, that you are selling something like a water filtration system. A cross-sell could be something related to that, such as maybe the filters or a different type of something that is actually needed. Of course, you can scroll down and enter the product description. Now, attributes, will focus on that at a later video. But for now, that's the basics of adding a product. Now, to the right-hand side, you can also add categories, product tags, which we'll talk about later, but you also want to set a product image. So whatever enticing image that you have describing that product, you'll want to upload it right here. And of course, once you're done, you can simply click on Publish. Now, before we go, I'm just going to simply enter some prices here. So we'll say regular price is $30, sale price is about $10. And we will simply click Publish, and we are good to go. Hello and welcome back. This is video number 5, and we're going to talk about how to organize your products. So as you begin to add more and more products over the course of weeks, months, or even years, things are going to become disorganized. It's going to be very hard for you to find, and of course your customers to find, unless you have a system in place initially and of course in the long term to make things easier to find. So that's what we're going to talk about in this particular video. And to do that, there are several different options that you can take. Now, as we mentioned earlier, we have categories, we have tags, and of course we have attributes. Now, attributes are a little bit different. So we're going to focus mainly on categories and tags. Now, you can also access them via the right-hand sidebar of each and every single one of your products. So on the right hand side, you can see product categories, and of course you can see product tags. Now it's going to be the same thing, except for this location here is going to show you all of your categories and of course all of your tags. Whereas this one over here, this allows you to specify how this product is categorized in a category or within the tags. So if we go to product categories, you can see a list here. And of course, when you see product tags, you're going to see a list here. Now, it's a good idea to have it written down on paper or have an idea of where things fit, and to try to create those product categories ahead of time, and then create the product tags ahead of time. So as you begin to add your products, you're not thinking of categories when you're adding products, but instead you have the categories already created. So let's create an example here. Let's say, for example, that we want to create products and focus on products in a specific niche. And let's say, for example, that niche is about water filtration. So if we take a look at different categories, we have maybe water filters, or we can just say filters. Let's say that the whole site is about water filtration. So we have filters, and the slug is going to be the user-friendly URL version. So you can say something like water-filters. And then you'll want to put a description. Now, of course, you also want to upload a thumbnail if you can. If you can't, no big deal. Just create a category. So when you're done, all you have to do is click on Add New Category, and you're done. So we can see that here. Now, let's say you've created other categories, and as you can see to the right, we see count. The reason why it's 0 is because there's no products that are attached to that product category. Now, if we go over here and we're going to refresh the page, I'll actually click on update and go from there, and we see filters. So I'm going to uncheck uncategorized, click on filters, and there we go. So if I click on update here and I go back to the product categories and I refresh the page from this page, you'll see that it says filters count 1. So to get a broader view of things, you can always go to product categories and see how many products are within what category. The same thing holds true with product tags. You can create product tags over here, or you can simply create them over here. So let's say, for example, that we're going to create the product tags over here. So this is a water filtration device, so we can say something like filters, and you can click enter, and then something like water, let's say 1-year warranty. Now, when you click on update, even though we created the product tags on this location over here, they will appear under the tags over here. So as you can see, it says filters, 1-year warranty, water, count 1, 1, and 1, meaning there's one product within this tag here. one here, one here, and one here. So I wanted to show you that so that it allows you to see that you can create tags and categories via the product section and also within the product tag section and within the product category section. So that's how easy and simple it is to create an organized system for your products. Hello and welcome back. This is video number 6, and we're going to talk about product attributes. Now, here's what I mean by product attributes. To give you the best example, I'm going to go to a site called Alibaba.com. I did a search for a t-shirt. T-shirts are a great example of this. So you have size and you have color. Underneath size, we have things like small, medium, large. Color, we have all sorts of different colors. Now, what I want you to understand is these are the attributes. So size is the attribute. Color is the attribute. What are these? These are what we call values. Now, the reason why I'm telling you this is because that is what it's called under WooCommerce. So if we were to go under here, and let's just refresh this page, you can do it of two different ways. You can go under attributes and add them there, or you can add them on the actual product that you're editing. I like to do it on the product that I'm editing because I can add the values. And under attributes, you can only add the attributes. So think of attributes kind of like a category of product attributes. So we have color and size. Since we're dealing with like water filters, we can have size. So you pick and choose the attribute, you click on add, and then of course you're going to see values. So the values for size would be something like small, and then you type that in and then you click add new. And then we can type in medium. And of course, large. Click add new, enter that here, click OK. And that's it. That is how to add a product attribute. Now, of course, if it were color, let's say color, you would do the same thing. Let's say we have brown. So you click on add new, click OK, click add new, green, click add new, white, and we click save attributes. So now we can click update. And there we go. So we go under attributes, we can see that we have large, medium, small. Under color, we have a variety of different colors. And that's it. Hello and welcome back. This is video number 7. And in this video, we're going to talk about how to expand beyond the core foundation of WooCommerce. So what I mean by that is, how do you go from setting up a site? Let's say, for example, that you want to sell subscriptions, a monthly subscription. You want to set up a membership site, or you want to integrate with a payment processor beyond just PayPal or Stripe. So to do that, you will need to have an extension. So to do that, what you'll need to do is go to WooCommerce.com. That's WooCommerce.com. And you'll need to go under the extensions store. Now, there are a lot of free extensions, but there are a lot that cost money. And it's easy to want to pick and choose every single one of them, but the goal here is to pick and choose what you need. So under here, you can see all new, developed by Woo, which means it's actually developed by the WooCommerce team, because some of these are actually programmed by third-party people. We have enhancements such as cart, checkout features, merchandising, product page features, search and navigation, and international. We've got marketing, email marketing, multi-channel marketing, promotions, reporting, and social media marketing. We've got payments in terms of fraud detection, in-person payments, off-site, on-site, pre-orders, subscriptions, and more. So a lot of people tend to run subscriptions. So we have product type, shipping, store management, and subscriptions. So subscriptions has its very own category. So I'm going to open this in a brand new tab, but if we click on all, you'll be able to see all of the extensions. So as we can see here, it says Stripe accept all major debit and credit cards. So we actually have this. And if we scroll down, we can see the most popular are subscriptions, bookings, and memberships. Now, you won't really need bookings unless you have a business model that takes in bookings, such as appointments, reservations, and more. Now, if we scroll down, we have things like Facebook. We've got Amazon Pay as a payment processor, Square, PayFast as different payment processors. We've got reporting like Google Analytics. We've got ShipStation, which is a type of software that allows you to ship out physical products and automate that whole process. So if you're dealing with physical products, you could do that. We have MailChimp. So as you can see here, there are a lot of different extensions that you can buy, but the goal here is not to get lost into them, but to figure out what you really need. So if we're trying to set up a subscription, what I would do is up at the top, I would type in subscription. Now there is already a category over here on subscriptions, but I just want to show you as an example, if you do a search, you'll get an idea of what extensions actually relate to what you want. So you can enter a different keyword that fits you. So we can see subscription downloads, newsletter subscription, Aweber, subscriptions gifting. So for example, if you want to set it up so that people can buy like a voucher or a gift subscription and give it to somebody else, that's actually a really good idea. We've got other payment processors, and we got Zapier. And we'll talk more about Zapier in the next video where we talk about automation. So Zapier is a platform that allows you to automate a lot of WooCommerce or WordPress tasks. And we'll talk more about other plugins that we have tested that work really well that fit that description. So the goal here is to figure out, what I would do is go through here, figure out exactly what you need, write it down, and then look at it and ask yourself, do you really need these items? Because it's really easy, as I said, to get lost in them and try to buy 10 or even 20 different extensions. So start with the basics and then branch off from there. Now, if you go under marketing, this will actually help you expand your business in terms of marketing, like social, and it'll help you get more traffic back to your e-commerce site. Now, you can also find other WooCommerce extensions if you go to google.com and search for that. But what I would say is to try to stick with the ones here first before you try other extensions. And mainly because WooCommerce and their team, they do a really good job in terms of vetting and trying to figure out what extensions are actually legit and which ones are rated well and provide really good customer service. Because to get embedded into the directory, they're not just going to accept everyone. All right. So that's the point I'm trying to make. And now you know how to expand your business by getting extensions. Let's move on to the next video and talk about WooCommerce automation. Hello and welcome back. This is video number 8, and this is the last video, and this is going to be talking about how to automate your WooCommerce tasks. So there are some tasks that you just need to automate immediately after somebody purchases, or perhaps when somebody comes to your site or adds something to your shopping cart. So there are 2 different avenues that you can take. Number 1 is Zapier, that's Zapier.com, as you can see here. Zapier has what we call zaps, or automation processes. So if something happens, then something else happens. So for example, if somebody purchases, then you can add them to your email list. Or when they purchase, not only do you add them to your email list, but you also send them an email. You can also do something like if they add something, let's say for example, to the cart, but they do not purchase, but they've signed up, then you could trigger something to email them. And if they don't respond, let's say within 72 hours, you could email them 10% discount coupon. So there are a variety of things that you can do in terms of Zapier. Now, I just want to show you as an example, if you go to Zapier and you log in and you type in WooCommerce and you go here are just some of the many different ideas that you can implement. So for example, it says save new WooCommerce orders to Google Sheets rows, add new WooCommerce customers to active campaign as new contacts, update contacts in active campaigns based on new WooCommerce orders. So if customer A comes and then they get added, let's say, to active campaign, and they purchase product number 1 now, and then it gets updated, and let's say a month later they purchase product number 2, 3, 4, that will basically update the system as well. So not only that, it's not just all about email marketing. You can add them to, let's say, for example, your QuickBooks, your tax records, your accounting, bookkeeping. You can create Trello cards based on the new WooCommerce orders. Maybe you have a team that needs to take a look at what the orders are. You need to automate the process. You need to make it easier for them. So as I scroll down, you can see the many, many different automation processes and tasks that you can implement. So another one, you can say add new WooCommerce orders to GoToWebinar as registrants. So if we keep scrolling down, you can see there are hundreds of zaps or automation tasks just for WooCommerce. Now, in addition to Zapier.com, there is another plugin, an actual WordPress plugin. So Zapier is not a plugin, it's actually a website, a SaaS platform, as you would say. But if you wanted to do more than that, there's a nice little plugin called the Uncanny Automator WordPress plugin. And this plugin is something that you would install directly into your WordPress platform. So Zapier, on the other hand, would work outside of your WordPress site. So for example, as you can see here, the Uncanny Automator, the reason why it's really unique is because it integrates with a lot of different WordPress plugins that are not inside of Zapier. So as you can see, you can automate all of these between each other. So for example, WooCommerce, you could have something that says if somebody purchases an online course through WooCommerce, then they get added to, let's say, for example, LearnDash, which is a platform or WordPress plugin that allows you to sell online courses. Now, to just give you some ideas here, if we go to all triggers and actions, if we scroll down here, you can see that there are a variety of different triggers. So a trigger means something that happens beforehand before something else can happen. So if this happens, then do this. So that's what a trigger is. And then the action is what happens after the trigger initiates. So we have Gamma Press, we have Gravity Forms, and more. So for example, you could say, okay, if somebody fills out a form, Gravity Forms, and you have that WordPress plugin, you could say if a user submits a form, or a user submits a form that contains a very specific value, then do this or do that. Maybe add them to an online course, or maybe add them to your membership site, or maybe create a pop-up or add them to your events calendar. There's so many different triggers and actions that you can create with the Uncanny Automator. This is a WordPress plugin that we've tested and we've really liked, and it's definitely worth it. Now, in terms of cost, if you go here to the main site, you click on Buy Automator, you can see that there are a variety of recipes that you can create. Now, the main difference between a Zapier.com and this plugin is that with this plugin, you can create unlimited actions and unlimited recipes. With Zapier, on the other hand, you do have a limited amount of what we call zaps or trigger and actions. So with this one, you can create unlimited, whereas with the Zapier, you have a limit of that. But on the other hand, Zapier also provides access to over 1,500 apps, whereas the Uncanny Automator really focuses and hones in on WordPress plugins. So these two systems we highly recommend. We've used, we've tested, and we've really enjoyed using them. There are many other sites out there that do this kinds of things, but we've really narrowed it down to these two sites. And you can access the Uncanny Automator by going to automatorplugin.com. That's automatorplugin.com. Or you can simply go to google.com and do a search for the Uncanny Automator.